Well, welcome everybody to WDOJ FM 108. Um, this is the truth. Like I said, I do them when I feel like it, or I have to be in a set mind state to do this one. This one is a unique one because there's a lot of things that have been going on in my life and other people's lives that I know. Um, and it's a testament to understanding oneself. How do you deal with it? How do you understand it? How do you put it in a perspective that you can continue to go on, especially when you're dealing with death, um, either from someone dying, someone getting killed, someone killing themselves. The occurrences lately in my life that I've experienced quite a few of that. But yet, I still understand that life is what it is, and we have to continue to develop ourselves and our mind. And understanding that everything we do has a consequence. I speak of that a lot of times. Everything we do have a consequence. If you think that you can do all this wrong throughout your life, then all of a sudden flip and there's no consequences, then you're a fool. Because the creator is not to be mocked. And what that means is just because you turn your life around, he forgives you, but don't think there's no punishment for it. You know, like people say, oh, a murderer. Well, yes, he's a murderer. He can be forgiven, but he still will be in prison. He will not get out of prison. Or if he gets a disease, cancer, that's not going to go away. Okay, just because you change your life, don't mean the cancer is going to go away. So many people get it confused with my sins saved, and I can keep on doing what I'm doing. No, that's not the case. And the payment for that sin is never immediate. It can be later down the road, later in your life, you're doing well, and all of a sudden something devastating happens. Understanding that the consequences that you have to endure is because of the sins that you did. Um, and that's just the way life is, and then how we've been programmed throughout our lives through religion, television, news, family, parents, a whole group of ideologies. And one thing I tell people is have your own ideology, your own belief, and you deal with that with your creator as you see him to be or her to be, if you put it in that perspective. People continue to ask me why I do what I do. I do because I'm told to do. There's nothing that occurs in my life that I've done right that was good that I wasn't told to do. Now, many people didn't think it was a good thing. They had their opinion. But I tell people all the time, all my choices have been a lot based on what I'm told to do. Now, my bad choices, still what I'm told to do, but that's on the other side. Those opportunities were there. I took them. The consequences, as we know, I go through them all the time. I have children out of wedlock. I have issues in relationships. There's so many things that go on that I didn't think about at the time, but the consequences have come to fruition. And this is what spiritual understanding and a true spiritual perspective is not slapping you in the face with scriptures and slapping you in the face with condemnation. It's helping you understand and navigate those consequences that you are going through. You have to step back and look in your life and say, hey, what did I do before I turned my life around? What did I do before I walked the path? You know, that's what you have to sit and understand it. You cannot sit here and think you can walk the path after you done so much on the other road. Like I tell people, I call the devil, Lucifer, whatever you want to call him, the repo man. Because all your ill-gotten achievements and goals and money that you got, then you want to flip and leave him, he's going to come back for it. And then your faith will be tested when you're broke. Or you don't have anything. You lose your job. You lose this. You lose this. It's just on and on. A continuous effect. This is what happens. And people forget about that, and their consequences is that you don't get to enjoy all the greatness after you've done so much carnage. And we all can look at it in a different perspective and try to find whatever road or action we choose. But in actuality, if you just take time and step back and look at it, that's what it is. Now, everybody has a different perspective. I'm not sitting here making mine as a ultimate perspective. This is what truth is about. It allows people to send me different things on their perspective. I looked at the various readings and books and there various things that were sent to me that would catch my interest. I read a lot of different books. I read a lot of different Bibles. I look at a lot of different writings. Only time I stop looking is when they start condemning. And when I read something that's condemning another, then I lose that interest, because everyone has their perspective and it should be respected at all times. This is what this is about. I try to tell people all the time, think about the next person or what they may go through or what they're feeling at that time. Everybody's experience is different. Everybody's perspective is different. You try to analyze that perspective and try to incorporate it with what you're thinking and see if anything of that has a common value. This is what the problem in religion is. Everybody grabs onto their one side, and you have no continuity. And that's a grievance against the Creator, because we weren't created to be this way. We wasn't created to have all these religions. We wasn't created to have all this division. But yet we do. And we got to start asking ourselves, how do we fix it? How do we fix ourselves? Forget about fixing the next person until you can understand yourself. And I've been doing this for a long time and understanding and reading and trying to figure out myself through all my mental illness, through all the things I've done, through all of my rage, through my anger, through my self-destruction. I've been through a lot throughout my life, but I'm not blaming anyone but myself, because at some point I should have recognized that, hey, I got to take responsibility for the things that I do and not set fault with someone else. And that's what we need to do when we're trying to get a spiritual perspective of life. We got to stop with the, this one did that, this one did this one doing that, this one doing that. What are you doing? That's the biggest question. What are you doing? How are you raising your kids? How are you being a husband? How are you being a wife? How are you being a friend? How are you being a worker? All these are perspectives. And all these contain spirituality. Because if you're a hard worker and you're doing your best, no matter what nobody does to you, they can't overshadow your achievements. Good parent, no matter what your kids turn out, they still gonna have a moral base. Now, if they choose to go to a different route when they get older, then they're gonna try to contain that moral base. This is what a spiritual perspective is. And this is what we should be teaching in churches and through congregations, our children. Every day we should understand a spiritual perspective. Even with children, they have a spiritual perspective. They're trying to identify themselves. They're trying to identify what they see. They're trying to identify what they hear. And allowing them to do this and have their own spiritual perspective, and you talk to them about it, then you can analyze the direction that child is leaning toward. It's so many things that contradict itself in life that we try to point to the Creator or the nemesis. No, it's us. Us as a people. Us as a humanity. Us as what creation is. And we continue to fight over issues that don't matter. We continue to chase materialistic things. We continue to value money. We continue to devalue a human life, no matter what. If you out there killing, you devalue human life. If you're a cop, you kill, you devalue human life. That's what I try to keep people from doing, and try to keep people to understand that, look, life is what it is. You can't devalue life. Everybody's got their own time. Everybody got their own situation to build upon. But what are you building? You can have all the money in the world and still be unhappy. Or you can be poor and be happy. It's all been different perspectives on how you grow spiritually, your understanding. Because you the only one got to answer at the end of the day. No matter which way it go, you the only one got to answer. In your last breath, you still got to answer all these questions. You know, these questions are gonna be in your last thoughts. I could have did this better. I could have did that better. I could have did this. I could have done that. You know, all that's gonna play a part at the end of the day. So as you build yourself and understanding these downfalls are gonna always be there. And the essential ones are very simple. I mean, if we look at it as a people, as humanity, it's three things: power, money, and sex are the destruction of humanity. Has always been. Sorry for the outside noise, but I live by an airport. And like I tell people all the time, I don't care who watches it, how many watch it, how many clicks I get, but a lot of people do see it, and a lot of people do understand what I'm saying. And the ones that do, I'm appreciative. You know, the message ain't meant for everybody. Everybody got a message, and the message at that time. And the ones that get this message, it might be for you and it might not. But I'll never stop doing what I'm doing. That's the most important thing. I'm not going to stop. I fell off. I kind of like went away with ways because I wasn't understanding or feeling the right to speak, because I wasn't feeling a particular way. But I have to also understand that it ain't what I'm feeling. It is what I'm told to say and how I'm supposed to say it and display it and present it to you, the listener, the message is meant for. So I continue to set these goals of the truth and continue to set goals on different perspectives of life with all my videos. Let's Get Real, Truth, Alter Ego. I'm trying to open doors for others to be able to enlighten themselves and open up avenues for them to communicate their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts. This is what this vehicle is for. It's not sit up here and battle your boyfriend or battle your baby daddy or call people out of their names or just attack one another as it's being used. We have the media for that. We don't need that. We need to build a closeness of humanity and start to make a difference in change and development of ourselves. Now, I tell people all the time, there's a period of time where I did try to gain some perspective of acceptance, but that's not going to happen. And I'm not going to change, and I'm not going to change who I am and what I do to fit another person, family member, friend, or whomever it may be. And that's a spiritual perspective. That's why I try to teach people that all the time. These consequences are devastating. But if we look back at the things we've done, they're greater. We just must endure. And the more we endure, the more enlightened we become, and the more easier these setbacks and losses become. You look at the loss for what it is and try to understand why and keep going. You don't sit there and fold up. You don't sit there and try to hide from the fact that, these are some of the things in life. These are some of the things I've done. These, all the different things you can think about. I tell people that all the time. Think about some of the stuff you've done in your life before you start to question, or before you start to condemn another person, or before you start to cast judgment against another person. Like I said, 3 evils: power, money, and sex. This is what humanity has become, and this is what we've developed. We've lost the understanding of consequences. We've lost the understanding of faith. We've lost a lot of things as humanity. And the ones like myself that are speaking from a venue of such this is not going to get that toutedness that the ones you get on your evangelist shows, or the ones you get in the big churches and the choirs and all the television programs and specials. It's all a delusion. It is deception. No one needs all these things to speak about the Creator. No one needs all these things to speak about the greatness of the Creator and showing people the enlightenment of that. We don't need all that backdraft. You don't need all that special effects. You don't need all that. Yeah, it's good to have a praise day. We'll make that purpose of that in church. Hey, we don't have a choir kicking Sunday night doing. We give him praise. But when it comes to the message, you have to get the message straight. You don't need no backdrop. You don't need no orchestra. You don't need no cheerleading squad. You got to be able to get that message straight and straight to the people for the person that is meant to. Because if you put in too many distractions, you lose that person. You lose that person every time. So as far as my videos, yeah, they up and down. They have all kinds of crazy things. Like I can't get this keyboard thing off to stop popping up. But it does. But I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to sit up here and get upset about what this form of media has decided to do. And this is very important when you're dealing with your children. I watch too many children frustrated and confused and stressed. You know, it's just unbelievable what parents are starting to put on their children as though their children are expected to do these things. You must understand, you brought your children in this world and they're not your slave. They're not your property. They're the creators. You may be the parent, but they are his creation. And it's your job to develop that creation into what he has intended that creation to be. Not to derail that child, not to punish that child, not to put too much stress on that child, not to make that child your ambitions, your dreams, the things that you didn't achieve, or force ideology on that child that is out the norm. Get mad at a system that is based on teaching your children whatever they want to teach. You have to give your child a chance to decipher and ask his own questions or her own questions on various situations that may occur that they see. You can't be demanding, because the more demanding you are, the more likely you are to go to that way. And that's called a consequence. A consequence of a parental authority overbearing their child creates the consequence of that child most likely going against that authority. And I'm not talking about the basic, oh, I can't do this, I can't drink at 10 and 11, all the things the kids go through, but the trueness of authority. And you can't be an authority without showing example. You can't tell your kids not, to be drinking when all they do is see you drink. Now, if they see you drink occasionally, they see you drink a beer, they see you do this, then they get to understand, okay, parents come home from a hard day work, they're having a drink, they're having a beer, having a birthday party, blah, blah, blah. And if every time your child comes home and all they see is a drink in your hand, what you think the child's going to come up with? Same thing with smoking, my bad habit. Same thing with any habit that you have. Getting high, same thing. You can't tell your kids nothing. You sitting up there getting high. Okay? There is no truth in you. Because this don't do as I do, yin yang, does not work. It's by example. You show them an example. Okay, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay, I ain't doing it when I get up in the morning. I ain't doing it at lunch. I'm not doing it at dinner. I'm doing it to relax from a day of living in this world and surviving. I'm working, feeding you, housing you, doing this as parents. And this is my form of enjoyment. But you don't just do it in front of them constantly. They may catch you now and then, but not a constant thing where they see this on a constant basis, because they're going to develop the desire to do it. No different than any other kid, no different than me, with the development of drinking to the point of everything. It's the development of a spiritual perspective of a consequence of parenting. Parenting is very difficult. But you must understand you have to set your own parameters for yourself. You cannot apply the negativities of your parents before you to your children. Because you know your struggles. Now you're going to put them struggles on those children. Babysitting, watching their brothers and sisters doing all the housework, doing work around the house like they're slaves. They're not slaves. This is a point of them growing and developing to themselves. Or the parent that gives the kid everything they want, then they're going to want more. And then they're going to go in society and find out you can't get everything you want. Or they think they're special and find out, oh, you're not that special. You don't do no wrong. Oh, yeah, you do some wrong. All these things that parents say all the time, oh, my kid didn't do that. Yes, they did. You got to stop that. That's a parenting spiritual perspective because it has a consequence. And that is the development of a child is believing that they don't do anything wrong. We're watching it now with the kids killing. They have no filter because it's a constant in their lives. Through TV programs, through their parents watching TV programs, through the streets, through everything they see. From war, from history, on and on. This is a perspective that children are enduring every day. So this is what parents need to take their time and sit down and go over with their children before their children grow into these adults. Then they don't want to hear nothing you have to say. Then they go out and make these same mistakes. Then they're angry and then you have differences. That's a spiritual perspective that we have to change. We have to start learning to change that next generation, raising our children to understand that, hey, this is the way this is how this happens. And start to change that mindset. If we can change the mindset, we can do a lot of change in the world. But if we don't change that mindset, we continue to fall. And so many people want to call, it's time, end of days, and all this. It's not the end of days. Too many people call for the end of days. Too many people never even read what they were told by Jesus. There shall not be a time, place, or sign. Okay, where do we get all these signs from now? Where all these other books come from? If those was his words, how will we know? As the apostles ask. You will not. You see, that's what you don't hear. You never hear what he says to you. You never hear the liar of all liars and murderer of all murderers. Who is that? Man. Devil ain't killed nobody. Lucifer ain't killed nobody. And he don't need to lie to you. He just puts what you want in front of you. Just makes it easier for you to get. Now, it's a within thing. Here's a good job. Okay, I need you to lay off 25 people. I'm going to give you this management job. So you go lay off 25 people so you can get that management job. Or you turn that management job down. That's how he does things. He corrupts your soul. He corrupts you. Because you're willing to do something against humanity, against another human being, make their life much more difficult to enhance your life. To enhance who you think you need to be. Because you're insecure of who you are. These are the changes we have to start. We have to start at the top as ourselves. Every day is a struggle. Every day you're going to have to make decisions. And sometimes they're going to be right. Sometimes they're going to be wrong. But you got to stand by it. If it has the consequences, you have to accept it. There's no saints in this world. We all going to trip up. But at least if you accept that consequence for tripping up, no matter how bad we may think it is, it's not. Because we still have his grace. We still keep trying. And the blessings do come when you do good. You just don't see them. It ain't what you're going to expect. You ain't going to hit the lottery because of blessings. No. It's just meant for you to hit the lottery. That's just life. But what you do with that money, like I say, the devil can do a lot of things. He can make you a millionaire What do you do with that money? Do you forget that brother man, that brother sister, that brother in the streets, that brother sister in the streets, that child ain't got nothing to eat, that child homeless? What you do with your money? The devil can do a lot of things. He can make your life, boom, billionaire. There you go. What are you doing? What do you need all that money for? You have been corrupted. He moves on to the next. And he shall corrupt and corrupt and corrupt through our own selfish greed. And that's a spiritual perspective. Because even the richest people suffer dire. They suffer consequences for their actions. So understanding the consequences is very simple. Be the best that you can be. Do the best that you can. Don't ride that road of easiness, because it ain't nothing easy. It ain't meant to be. The only way is easy if he gives it to you. And if he gives it to you, trust me, you got to pay something for it. There's no such thing as an easy road. The road is made hard because he has made it easy. So those ones that choose to do the right thing, the road is hard. You can see somebody ain't doing no work and getting a promotion, and you breaking everything you're doing, and you can't move up. But see, we fail to understand that we need to move away from that situation to another situation, and you will see that we grow. Because somewhere your talents and your hard work shall be recognized. But we're too afraid to leave one situation to go to another. Because we strangle ourselves with what? Debt. Can't leave this because got to pay a house payment. Can't leave this, got a car payment. All of it's set for you by him. That he placed for people that want greed to put you in a position that keeps them greedy. It's just a spiritual perspective. This is me, my perspective. What is yours? Just sit back and ask yourself all the time. Just think about it. Spend more time thinking about your perspective of your spiritual self. Take time each day. Every day is hard. Every day you're going to get some kind of news. Every day you're going to feel pain. Every day something's going to go wrong. But you got to be able to handle that. And the better your spiritual perspective of life and your connection with the Creator, the easier it is to do. Like I said, I'm a messenger. I ain't the perfect person. I got my issues also that I continue to work through. But that doesn't mean he doesn't put the spiritual perspective for me to put out there for others. It doesn't mean that it clouds my judgment, because I'm not casting judgment on anybody for anything that you do. I'm just telling you it's a consequence. I'm not judging you. It's a consequence for everything that you do. That's against him. Morality against him. It's a consequence. Period. This is how we're created, moral and immoral. Morality is a basis of understanding that this is what it is. This is how we do things. This is how we become better. If we can understand that and conquer those little things, we will find ourselves in a much, much better place. But we can't. We continue to find reasons to do this, find reasons why this happened. Blame this on that. Blame this on this. Blame this on my family. Blame this on my friends. Blame this, blame. That's him playing with your head. So you can continue to do stupid things. So you continue to make that same mistake over and over and over again. So he continue to corrupt you. That's consequences. That's his job, to create consequences for you. Because you want to be with the Creator. You want to get there. But these consequences are hurting. They hurt. They ain't no easy consequences, okay? Abstinence. Oh, no, that ain't easy. Okay? giving to the poor, giving your time. Oh no, that ain't easy either. These are the things you must understand. Ain't none of these things easy, but these are the things we're supposed to be doing. Somebody said to me, I ain't giving them nothing. They just gonna go drink it up. That's on them. If you do it with a good heart and they go do something wrong with it, it is not on you, it's on that person. Anything that you do with a good heart, no matter what that person does, is not reflected on you. Even though you think in your mind, this is what they're going to do. But I'm going to go ahead and do the right thing. Because you might be surprised that one person goes and gets something to eat. Or goes and uses that money for the right thing. So you can't continue to take the same perspective and thought process in your mind. You got to let it go. You got to move on. You got to keep doing the right thing. That's what everything's about, is doing the right thing. We got to continue to try to do the right thing. We got to continue to be a better people, a better group of people, so humanity can advance to where the Creator wanted us to be. You know, sometimes we look at it in such a difficult situation that we can't even see how easy and clear it is. We can't see how we sway away so easily. But we do. Throughout time, throughout history. The same repetitive cycle. Done by the major three things: power, greed, sex. Pedophiles, all these things, all created from one thing. From that one core. And it destroys us each day. Each day we do it. Each day we chase it. Each day we hold on to it. Each day we use it as a weapon. Power as a weapon. Money as a weapon. Sex as a weapon. And we don't see our wrongs. We don't see where we're failing ourselves as a people, as humanity. We got to find that. Because that's the ultimate goal. That is the ultimate truth. That is what He has created us to be. And maybe when we do, like I said in my other show, when we do finally hit that pinnacle where we become a people of just, then He shall return and cast out the unjust. Because we overcome the unjust. We become what He has created us to be. So He shall cast out that unjust. That's a spiritual perspective. And it's like I said, most people don't watch it, most people don't see it, but I get a few people that go back and look through my videos and catch it and go through it and read it and listen. I don't expect people to sit up here and really listen to it because I don't understand how the dynamics of all this works. But I always send it to certain pages and names, and it may not go out to everybody, but the ones I do, it seems to connect. Or someone I have no least idea that ever watched one of my videos have watched them. So this is what it's about. It's not about how many clicks I get. I go out every day and make my living. So my living is not based on clicks, popularity, glamour. It's based on just looking at you and talking to you and allowing you to make your own decisions. But everybody needs somebody to talk to. Sometimes you just like to hear somebody talk. I watch a lot of videos just to hear what people have to say. I read a lot of books to see what they have to say. This is what we have to do. We have to continue to try to be better. We have to continue to be better so we can make a better life for others. It's like I said, I don't do long spiritual videos. I don't do a lot of long political videos. I don't do too many videos that just drag on. The point's made, and this is how we must take it from that point. And that's the spiritual perspective. Now, there's a whole bunch of things of getting to this point that I'll be going through and dealing with and looking at different variations of obtaining this spiritual perspective, because ain't one way gonna work for everybody. We have to continue to develop our minds, develop our souls, develop as a humanity, human race, human people. We're all equal. We're all the same. We all are born, we die. So no one's better than the other. No race is better than the other. No culture is better than the other. No religion is better than the other. Because at the end of the day, we're born and we die. When that stops happening, somebody's born and they never die, then we need to maybe start looking at that person and trying to understand why he's born and he's not dying. But until then, we're equal. We're born, we die. I want to thank everybody for listening to WDOJ. Hope you have a beautiful evening. Catch the video. It's always saved as long as I can save it. Request, I try to transfer it. I haven't got that good at it yet, but I'm working at it. As he decides for me to get better and time comes for me to expand, that will happen. So I want everybody to enjoy their evening, and thank you for tuning in. Peace.